Okay, so Mahalwari system became popular by Lord William Bentinck in Agra, and Awadh. Awadh is in UP. Okay, and it was later. Let me continue. So it was later extended to Madhya Pradesh and Punjab. Now, the responsibility of collecting and depositing the rent lied with the village head. So the village headman had to, it was his responsibility to collect it. Okay. Now, the Mahalwari system is found to be less exploitive. So it is less exploitive. So they, there was no misuse of power because it was combined and it was equal. So it was compared to zamindari, it like dependent on the zamindar, and according to the zamindar, he used to exploit the farmers. But here it was less exploitative. So it was less exploitative than the zamindari system. Okay. Now, where was the system prevailing? So the system was prevailing in, let me rub this. Okay. So the system was prevalent in Agra, Awadh, Punjab, Orissa, and Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Now coming to the next, the third system which we are going to talk about. So these are the most important points which you have to study. Yes, now coming to Rayotwari system. So this was the last system of land revenue, and land reforms was divided into three systems. Okay. Now here the land revenue was paid by the farmers directly to the state. Okay. And now in this system, let me continue. In this system, the individual cultivator, and what was the individual cultivator called? He was called as Rayot, had full rights regarding sale, transfer, and also giving rent to land. So leasing of the land. So this was the big right. They had a lot of rights. They were called as individual cultivators, and they had full rights regarding the sale, the transfer, and the leasing of the land. Okay, and they could not be removed or evicted, you can say, from his land as he pays the rent. But in zamindari system, it all depends on the zamindar. If the zamindar wants, he can remove it also. Okay, let me continue the Rayatwari system. Okay. Now, in this system, the responsibility of paying the rent lies with the individual cultivator called Rayat. So Rayat is, nobody is taking the responsibility. Rayat himself is an individual cultivator. He will take the responsibility to pay the rent. So there exists no middleman. So there exists no intermediaries between the government and the individual cultivator. Okay. Now this system is better than the zamindari system, you know, and the mahalwadi system. Okay, but compared to that, you know, if you see, it appears to be very satisfactory that, you know, mahalwadi system is you know, much having a lot of problems, and zamindari system, it looks that, you know, rayatwadi system is good, but it has a lot of deficiencies. So let us see what are the deficiencies, because it is looking at it is it's looking very good, and it's looking as if, you know, zamindari system is worse than this, and mahalwadi system is worse than this. So let us see the deficiencies of rayatwadi system. Okay, but in reality there is a problem here. So let us write here, in reality the system, the rayatwadi system had several deficiencies. The first is, the system was dominated by upper class people. They are called as mahajans. Dominated by the mahajans and money lenders, okay, who granted loans to cultivators by mortgaging, you know. So they used to give this loan, and they used to take the you know, they used to tell that, you know, you have to keep the land with me. So it's called as mortgaging. Okay, so once he pays back the money, then he would have given the land, and then they would never give back the land. Okay, because anyhow they were uneducated, so God knows what they used to sign the documents. So mortgaging the land, but this is the way they used to give loan. So obviously the money lenders exploited this. Yes, so the money lenders exploited the cultivators and threw them from their land in case of loan default. So if they would never be able to pay the loan, then they would throw them from the land. Now where was this system introduced? So let me write down which was the place where the system was first introduced. So let me write, the system of Rayatwadi was first introduced in Tamil Nadu. So was first introduced in Tamil Nadu, and later, you know, it spread everywhere. So later extended to Maharashtra. Berar is a place, East Punjab, it's no over here, it's now gone to Pakistan. So East Punjab, Kurg, which is a place in Karnataka, and Assam. Okay, so these are the basic details through which we have understood. The first section, as I said, was basically, you know, now we will talk something about the issues related to the farm subsidies, okay, and the minimum support prices. So we will study that also in detail. Okay, let me rub this. Okay, so issues related to direct and indirect farm subsidies and minimum support prices. Okay, so this is very very important, so we need to know here. Now we have to also know that how many types of subsidies are there in India. So let us now see first the agriculture subsidies. Okay, so agriculture subsidies in India, were introduced in the HYV program, and that is called as the high yielding variety seeds program in the mid 1960s. Okay, and this was given high priority to supply inputs of, like, giving irrigation of water. So this program was given priority to water irrigation. So let me write down here. Okay, then proper water channels, fertilizers, yes. So high yielding variety program. Okay, and electricity to Indian farmers. Okay, and this was done because basically to develop agriculture. Now to ensure that these inputs are accessible to all farmers at all the times, the government decided to give subsidies. So what is subsidy? Something like free, okay, to these inputs. Okay, so basically how the subsidy work, let me explain you this better. So how subsidy works. Okay, so first is the price is paid by farmers for the inputs, for the key inputs. Okay, then the actual market price or retail market price of the inputs, and then finally you get is subsidy. Okay, so there are two most common ways of subsidizing the agriculture. So firstly what they do is, there are two ways, as I said. The first is the government may pay much higher prices for the agriculture products. Okay, and then sometimes the farmers can attend free of cost. And secondly, the government will supply the inputs at a price which is very below the low cost or below the cost of the market. Okay, so this is called as open free trade environment. So in both the ways, the government can pay the higher prices for the agriculture products, or the second is the government can reduce the prices of the agriculture products, so there is a free trade and the prices are below the market. So now higher prices for farm products can be provided mainly by the domestic markets also. And like fertilization, the irrigation, credit facility, electricity, all that can be done and supplied to the farmers by way of open market system where the prices are below the market. Okay, so there are two alternatives. Okay, so subsidies are normally preferred because the government is not giving any taxes also, and they are preferred because most of the farmers are very poor. So to raise the food and raw materials, that is why, and they want to boost the agriculture sector also. That is why the government encourages subsidies a lot. Okay, but generally what happens is, agriculture and the need to raise the domestic market and the production, so that there is a huge protection and each and every village becomes self-reliant. That is why the government has introduced subsidies. Okay, so now for rationalization, so let me, so that everything is equal. So nationalization of agriculture was introduced. Okay, so this is also very very important. Okay, but what happens is there are a lot of negative impacts. Okay, so now as I said, the issue of subsidy is not happening because what happens is big states, they are benefited and small states are not benefited, and there's a negative impact because there is like imbalance of a state level. Some, all are not getting the subsidies. Some states, they are benefited because some states which are preferred by the government, they are getting benefited. Okay. And then there is a pressure of World Trade Organization also to reduce the subsidies. Okay. And then if you keep on giving everything free, the natural resource also gets over. Okay. So that is the very important thing. So there is a lot of impacts of agriculture subsidies. Okay. But however, if you look at the screen, the issue of agriculture subsidies is not to be examined only from the imbalance. Okay. So you must see a wider scope where if you remember that that the entire all 189 countries had vouched that there must be, you must see that there is national security. So national security can only be achieved by way of subsidies, so that billions and billions of farmers are benefited, and you ensure that poor and marginal farmers do not get wiped out. Even the small farmers also should get benefited. Okay. So now let us talk about two types of farm subsidies which are found in India. So let me just rub this. Okay, so direct and indirect farm subsidies. Okay, so this is very important. Now let's first talk about is direct. Okay, so direct, they are in the form of direct income support to the farmers, and here cash payments to the farmers is an example. So sometimes the government gives cash to the farmers so that they can buy the products or tractors or something like that. Let's see the next one. Let me clear this. Okay. Now we will talk about is the indirect subsidy. So indirect subsidies. Okay. So now they are in the form of non-cash benefits. They are mainly provided to support the farmers. Now what kind of input subsidies? Let me write it down. So input subsidies like fertilizers, credit, irrigation are all examples of indirect subsidies. So this is very important, as I said also, that when you do it now, now let us talk something about e-technology. So let's talk now how e-technology is benefiting. That also we will see. So let me rub this quickly. Yes, so e-technology in Indian agriculture to aid the farmers. Okay, so first of all, there is a new system called as e-platform. So e-platform, okay, and it is also called as the electronic trading portal for national agricultural market It is an attempt to use modern technology for transforming the system of agricultural marketing. Okay, so basically it's a pan India, it is universal, and on the entire India it is being done, this system, and it's a very new system. That's why I'm giving you, as I said, I'll start from history to the current updates. So I'll keep on giving you the current updates for the economic point of view of today's agriculture also. So this is a very important system also which is given. Okay, just let me just clear this. Okay, so now